What is up, peeps? Welcome back to more gaming news. Two of the GOATs of Call of Duty have now talked about where Call of Duty went downhill. Make sure to leave a comment down below. Where do you guys think Call of Duty has changed it all? Where has it gone downhill or started to go away where you didn't really want Call of Duty to go? It was in a recent Optic episode with the Inner Circle. They had all the GOATs of Optic. They had Nadeshot, they had Scump, they had Hex, they had Karma, they had Formo, they had Crim6. I hope I named them all. And it was an amazing conversation around Call of Duty and where did it go downhill? To which Scump first jumped in and said when they actually combined Warzone and Multiplayer, that is when Call of Duty didn't go completely downhill, but it started going a wrong direction when they had to commit equal time to two separate games.
You guys were Call of Duty's board of directors. You five are the board of directors. What is something that you would do different to put Call of Duty in the best path forward?
I'd separate Warzone and Multiplayer. I think that since that has been a thing, Call of Duty has just gone not completely downhill, because there have been moments where it's been better, but since they've combined the two, I mean, it's just you can't put half effort into two things. You know what I'm saying? You got to fully commit. And it feels like since Warzone has been integrated, it feels like it kind of just has been, the effort has been split.
And there's tons of comparison points you can think about when this kind of topic comes up. When I think about other games that I really do enjoy, for me personally, I think of a game like Counter-Strike, and them focusing on the main game has always been kind of their mainstay. It's what has had this legacy of a game. It's been a mainstay in gaming, and especially esports, for a long period of time, but they've had their blips and periods of other game modes pop up. One of them being Danger Zone. It was kind of like their little battle royale. I wouldn't call it a BR, but it was kind of that drop down, many dozens of players available, and it was a mode they didn't really pay too much attention to, but it was the nearest thing I could compare Counter-Strike, the main game, and Danger Zone, their BR version, and you could tell that they still dedicate all their time to the main game. Like, Danger Zone was pretty much neglected and fell apart, and currently not even in CS2, and I can only imagine the frustration if all of a sudden Valve was like, hey, we're going to full focus on Danger Zone, and we're not really going to pay attention at all to our main game, because they already have problems in the main game, so if they had any diverted attention, it'd get even worse. Like, if you're Call of Duty and you have to focus on Call of Duty Multiplayer and all of Warzone, all of a sudden you are dealing with two very different fan bases and player bases, and it's got to take a lot of manpower to do that kind of thing. It's also Nadeshot stepping in saying Omni Movement should be the last big movement update for Call of Duty, and it just should be the thing for all Call of Duties from here on out, to have consistent movement, which I also agree with. It's got to be a very big frustration, especially at the higher player levels or the competitive player level, where each and every COD or every other COD, the movement is completely changing.
If I'm the board of directors, I'd piggyback off that. I would take Omni Movement as it is today and make that the last change of movement they make to Call of Duty, besides removing tac sprint. You have to have one speed of sprint, and it could be the speed of tac sprint, but it should be sprinting, and that's it, because it's just a jarring movement mechanic that doesn't really add much value to the gameplay itself. I think you increase all the tick rates on every server across Warzone and Call of Duty, because it's too inconsistent. I'm playing 3 different modes. They all feel like different servers. My movement feels different. The way the bullets shoot feels different. I would invest in the actual gameplay experience. I would separate the two, make Omni Movement like the one through point that all the games have from here on out. And then I think you have a successful series. I would remove the blueprint bullshit. If I buy a gun from the store and I remove one attachment from it, the gun doesn't even look like anything that I want it to look like and shoot like when I bought it in the first place.
And then the whole group goes on to give credit to Call of Duty skins, which I'm not going to lie, guys. It's a game you pay to play, but I cannot lie to you. When you have all of these bong skins and these finishers and unicorn fart dust, am I a little envious of all of you Call of Duty fans? Yeah, the skins are dope, all right? Whoever is making Call of Duty skins has had way too fun of a time the past few months, and in the future will probably continue to do so. So you got to give them credit. Call of Duty skins, they've gotten pretty good. They're pretty outlandish, but they're pretty good. But it's really these guys going back and forth of what can truly save Call of Duty at this point. And for me, it's like, I don't know what we expect. They want to release a new game every single year. Do we really expect that there's ever going to be a perfect Call of Duty? And even if there is, the next year it's going to change to probably one that won't be as good. Like, I don't know how much I can stress this. It's an annual release. Like my expectations are no longer good for Call of Duty because they don't need them to be good, because we keep giving them money and we always will, like for the next however long. And so maybe I'm just too upset right now, but like I can't see this picture ever changing. Can you guys? Although there were some good recommendations out of Nadeshot, which I think should be for every game out there, where he says every Call of Duty title eventually should make all of the maps available from all previous Call of Duties. Yeah, you know, all the previous Call of Duties that you've now paid, I don't know, $960 for just to get the titles, and the maps you can't play unless they re-release them as an exclusive. You know, Nuketown's coming back for the 6th time, which I definitely agree this should be a thing, but I also understand why Call of Duty can't do this, because you're trying to populate as many maps as possible, as many modes as possible, and they have to balance all these players and all these servers and make sure all these game modes and maps are getting enough players to even be, you know, usable. So I kind of understand both sides on this one.
Instead of like restricting and then re-releasing random maps from different titles in games, like they just brought back Hacienda.
Yep.
Call of Duty has like an illustrious IP that has 16, 17, 18 titles, years of history. They should just have all the maps available for every single game. Like, why are we sitting here like nitpicking which is going to come back? What is, I just thought about that right now, but like, what is the downside of making all those maps accessible? It doesn't change the way that people will experience the game. And maybe it's like, hey, for the first month, we're not going to have any of those maps available so that you can sit here and play the damn 16 maps that we just made for this new game. But then after that, you can have them all. I just don't understand why.
Money. They want to remaster the games. They don't want you to get used to playing it, so you don't play the remaster, which that theory doesn't even really make sense either, because even if they remastered Black Ops 2, like, first off, everyone's going to play that. But second off, like, look at Cold War, for instance. They already brought back Raid, Standoff. Express was in Cold War. Like, they already did that. So it's like, that's my main thing, is like, it's just a money thing.
So at the end of the day, Scump thinks that Call of Duty kind of took it downhill ever since Warzone and Multiplayer became one, and Nadeshot has a whole slew of reasons why Call of Duty has taken a fall, not to mention all the things we have covered recently with anti-cheat, the lack of ricochet, and all the other topics that the community have been bothered by. It feels like it's just one after the other when it comes in terms of complaints, but that has two of your all-time greats saying, hey, here's where Call of Duty went downhill. Can it ever start going uphill, or are we stuck in this never-ending cycle of Call of Duty releases? And I think we are, personally. But until next time, hope you guys all enjoy. As always, drink up for me. All right, stay hydrated, and I'll see you back here tomorrow morning. Take care.